Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so that potential buyers can learn more about the business and the seller to help them make an informed buying decision. If you would like to learn more about this business, including details like what type of business it is, how much revenue and profit it makes, and all of the assets included with the business, simply visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business's listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and in the description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. So without further ado, let's get into this interview. First up, let's learn a little bit about you. Can you tell us about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. I've been building and running online businesses for about 6 years. This business particularly cropped up when I was looking around my room and I said, what am I going to build a new online business around? So I looked up on my wall and I saw some things from my past that reminded me of a skill set that I really was good at. Now, what I did was I really leaned into that and said, okay, how do I take this idea and build products around it, build a sustainable business around it, and do it in a way that allows me to have full control, flexibility of my life, and just really enjoy the process. So about 5 years ago, with this particular business that we're talking about that's listed now, it was born out of that idea and that concept, something that I could spend very little time in, make sales, and have a really streamlined, easy, automated fulfillment process. And that's what I've done. And from that, I've pivoted to helping my wife build an online business, to coaching other people how to build their own online business, how to help people come up with their ideas and build a business around that. So that's been my story around this online business and how I've actually expanded on that. And I have so many things in the future that I'm thinking about as well with building new and different types of high leverage online businesses.
Why are you selling the business now instead of keeping it and growing it further?
This is a great question, and one I get from my family and friends a lot. Why in the world would you sell this business? You only spend an hour a week on it, and why don't you just keep it and maybe just grow it? And it's really a simple answer, but yet it's complicated as well. For me, the passion 5 years ago, I was all in on thinking about how to build and grow this online business. But as the years have went on, I have just gained other interests. So now I'm a partner in a software as a service company. I've helped my wife build and grow her online business. And I just have other things that I'm interested in. I'm semi-retired now, doing some online things, some coaching. And it's just really time for someone else to take the reins on this online business and take it to the next level, because I think it's really positioned well for someone who wants to, maybe this is someone's first online business, or maybe it's their 10th online business, or maybe it's part of a portfolio of online businesses. I think this business is a great business for someone who wants to, take on an opportunity and a challenge. So that's why I'm selling it. And it's really about other interests and other irons I have in the fire at the moment.
Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business to maintain it?
Sure. So to maintain this business, it's really, really simple. And I've designed it that way to kind of fit around the lifestyle that I wanted to create. I spend about an hour a week, and that's an average. Reality are some weeks I don't spend any time in it, but the majority of the need to maintain this business is, at least right now, in the way that I currently run it, is one update per month. So there are 3 websites associated with this business. A Kajabi site is the main site that does the heavy lift, that does the automation, the fulfillment. Everything is kind of hands off. And then 2 WordPress sites, which really drive leads back into the Kajabi site and drive ad revenue as well on the two WordPress sites. But to maintain it once a month, certain updates come out in this industry that I need to publish or I decide to publish. And because my websites are pretty high authority in this niche, they get a lot of organic traffic. And the two WordPress sites have been around for 12 to 15 years. So they've had a lot of time out there to gain a lot of following, I would say, right? So that is really it. Once a month, I update the three websites largely with the exact same information. It takes me about, if I'm being really generous, it takes 30 minutes to an hour once a month to update the three websites. I have things pretty streamlined. I don't do a lot of different flips and backflips and things. I just keep it very simple and very opportunistic just to do that one thing a month because I know that's why the majority of people come to the sites at a certain time per month, right? So that's it. I'm a one-man band. I do everything myself. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's what I choose around my lifestyle. I spend roughly an hour a week, and that's for everything. That's for website updates. If I get any customer emails, which is very rare, I get very, very few customer emails. I can count on one or two hands how many I get in a year. So it's very, very low maintenance. If I decide to do an email campaign or something, that might take a little more time. But right now, I'm just kind of letting it ride and seeing if a buyer wants to take on this cool opportunity and really have something that's already put together, ready to go, that's making money and is ready to scale even more. So that's all it takes. It's very simple, and that's the way I've set it up.
So if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways you would try to grow it?
Now, if I were to keep this business, some of the ways that I would scale and grow, and I've thought through this, right? So if I was going to dedicate more time to it and just really be more intentional, I would get much more intentional with a more defined email marketing strategy, especially to the existing subscriber base, right? The subscriber base is about 23,000 email subscribers at the moment, about 3,500 customers that have purchased one or more products since this business has been operating. But I would really go all in on warming up the email list a little better and doing a much more consistent email marketing strategy. I'd also do some retargeting, potentially retargeting Facebook ads to the existing customer base as well. I might implement an email newsletter once a week just to maintain that regular, predictable cadence of engagement with my audience. Is something I don't do today, but I've thought about it. I'd throw much more in the way of promotions out there, newsletters with promotions, emails with promotions, right? Just keep pounding away at my products that I have because there's always a timing of when people are going to want it, right? I mean, today the right day for the person that's going to want this product or not? I don't know. What do they wake up? What's their problem today? So there's always a need that's coming on. And because this niche, like most niches, but this niche in particular, has a lot of new audience, a lot of new people coming into this niche on a regular basis. There's always a new market opportunity for people. And this is a really defined niche where the competition is fairly low. And I have a good presence as far as the websites and the authority and the age and the following. So there are a lot of opportunities just to expand on those good things that are already going on. Social media, right? Social media strategy is something that I would consider going all in on, maybe implementing some chat technology, some mini chat, things like that in Facebook. I have a Facebook group that has about 65,000 private members in this private Facebook group that it's really engaged. I have moderators in there, and it's just a really good source of information for people in this niche, and it's very specific. And it's highly engaged. So that's the best thing. Because it's highly engaged, you can implement some potential strategies to really connect with those people on a deeper level. That's something I have not done. I just don't want to spend my time on social media, frankly, but there is a big opportunity for that. Also with Facebook, there is a page that I have that has over 200,000 followers. Now, granted, that is not as good of an audience as the private 65,000 Facebook group. That's a much higher engaged audience, but there's still 200,000 plus followers on a Facebook business page that can be leaned into and further, engaged. And I have comments turned off on that page, for example. So there's a lot that could be done just because you have a lot of eyeballs there. So website content is another big one. I update the websites once per month. That's like, I take a minimalist approach to this. So website updates, posting more, being much more intentional with the type of information that's put out there. The type of information that I post is public information. It's not like secretive, you got some decoder ring to figure out. It's really straightforward, and you could just do more of those types of things. Not only would that drive additional ad revenue from the two premium ad platforms, but would just continue to grow leads and expand that and lead to growth as well. And let me see here. Let me think, sales promotions. You could do more Facebook ads. I don't run Facebook ads all the time. I haven't run them in a couple of months. Sometimes I run them, sometimes I don't. It just depends. And when I run them straight to a checkout page, which is probably not the way that somebody would teach you how to do it. They'd say, go get a lead, cultivate the lead, do all these things. But for me, because I don't want to spend a lot of time in this business, I'm like, look, if you have a problem and this can solve it, just go buy it, right? It's reasonably priced. It's kind of if you need it, here it is. If you don't need it, that's cool too. And I just send people to a checkout page. And when I do run ads, I typically run them very profitably, and return on ad spend being, 2 to 3x at times. So you could really lean into that, learn more about that, scale that as well to grow. Also, I had a podcast that I didn't do many episodes on, but it just kind of lives out there in perpetuity on Buzzsprout. And it just gets about 150 to 250 downloads per week on just a few episodes. So there's an opportunity to restart that and to really link promotions in from the podcast or sponsors or things like that, because it does get, let's say, 200 a week organic listens and downloads. So that's a real opportunity as well. So there are a lot of avenues, a lot of growth paths with this. I've just decided not to take them because I have other things going on, whether it's working in a SaaS business or helping my wife or enjoying retirement. There are a lot of things that can be done. And that's why I spend 1 hour a week on it. So if you are a buyer for this business, I'm happy to help you in the 30-day transition to really understand these growth opportunities and flush that out.
Right. And what would you say are the biggest risks with this business that buyers should be aware of?
The risks are pretty small for this type of business in this niche specifically, because this is not a broad, it's a real specific niche. Competition is fairly low, at least in my opinion. The business model doesn't add a lot of inherent risk because the expenses are very, very low, right? It's mainly hands off. People buy, they get fulfilled automatically. They use the product. I have very, very few returns. They're almost non-existent because the pricing of the product is as such that it's almost a waste of their time. It's not really, but it's kind of feel like a waste of people's time. Just like, oh, do I really want to go through a refund process? Because the products are so straightforward and they solve such a specific problem that it's kind of binary. Yes, they solve a problem. They have a problem. They buy the product. It solves a problem. The price isn't a huge barrier, and they move on with life. So not a lot of risk, in my opinion, there, evidenced by very, very few customer emails or problems, very few refunds over time. I bet I've had less than 5 refunds over the last 12 months. I could be off a little bit, but it's certainly less than 10. Let's say 5 to 10 refunds in the last 12 months. Very, very few. And the business model is of such that it is kind of on autopilot, right? One-man band, autopilot. You can grow, you can add an assistant, a VA, you could scale with the things I talked about previously. So there's so much opportunity to kind of let it ride, to grow and scale. And the risk of all of that is very low because the expenses are very low. And there's no contracts. There's no of these external pressures that make a buyer or an owner or myself over the last few years feel any stress or pressure about, oh my gosh, this is going to drag me down. So I don't really worry about stuff like that. And I'd say other than that, with the growth things that I mentioned, that's going to do nothing but increase the organic traffic, make the ad revenue better, sell more products because I'm doing almost as little as can be done right now in this business. And it's still kind of just, trucking along, doing its thing. But there's so much opportunity. And because the risks are very, very low, you can be bold and you can really lean into those opportunities without a huge downside.
How much support are you willing to offer the buyer who acquires this business?
So from a support perspective, number one, just because I don't spend a lot of time in this business or because I'm not willing to lean in to all of the growth and scale things that I mentioned, doesn't mean that I don't have a great care for this niche and the people and customers in this niche and the people who engage with the content in this niche. I do. I have a profound interest in it. I came from this niche. I was one of these people, and I'm very empathetic with the problems that they face. So I have a great care to see this business go into the hands of somebody who wants to continue that, right? And because of that, I am certainly willing to offer support. Contractually, or maybe on some agreement, would be 30 days. But if questions come up, I always tell people, it's not like I'm leaving planet Earth, right? If you have a question and you're like, when this happened, what did you do? Or when you face this problem, which decision did you make? Or when a customer says this, or where they have a question about that, which road would be the best road to go down? At least until you get your sea legs under you, I am available, right? Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to jump on, Zoom calls every day after the 30 days. But reasonable reach out, reasonable engagement questions, because I do want to see not only this business continue well, but I want to see it grow. I want to see it scale. I've seen it from nothing to where it has been and then, where it's at today. And nothing would make me happier than seeing this business not only continue what it's done, but grow. If it could grow 5x, 10x of what it is, I'd be thrilled. And I would be very willing to answer questions and help beyond the 30 days, albeit within reason, until the buyer is more comfortable. So I'm not going anywhere. I want to make sure this business and you as a potential buyer have success.
Are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out agreement?
From a payment structure, to be completely transparent and honest, I want out. Now, back to the prior mention about support, happy to support 30 days until there's a comfort level, answer questions beyond that, maybe a non-formal basis, just on a, hey, you have a question, here's an answer. I'm really great at making Loom videos and hey, let me show you, let me point you around, things like that. I'm good at that. Happy to do that during the 30 days as well. But as far as an earn-out structure, I'm not very open to that, to be quite honest, because I want to move to other projects and interests that I have. Because I only spend 1 hour on average, and that's generous, I would say it's probably less than that. But because I spend as little time as I do in this business, an earn-out structure would almost be as if, well, I could just continue doing what I'm doing because I'm not spending much time in it now. So I would most desire, and my goal is to have a clean exit from this business, an all cash, clean, fast exit, help the buyer transition, make sure everything gets settled, cleanly, questions answered, and completely kind of step out so the other party, the buyer, the new owner, can step straight in and get on with all the things that I've been talking about the opportunities that this business really has in front of it for the right buyer.
Okay, final question. If you had to put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why is your business a business worth buying?
I've spoken about that, pretty detailed up to this point so far, but this is just a great business, right? If you're looking to buy a job, it's like, look, I just want to buy a job and I just want to work like a crazy person every day. This is probably not the business for you. This is a business that gives you leverage in life. This is a business that you can do a little bit of work, spend maybe a period of time sprinting to set up new processes, new scalable growth strategies, maybe sprint for, a period of time, a few weeks, a few months, whatever that looks like for the desire of the buyer, and then kind of sit back and let it do its thing. That's the beauty of this business. It's a great niche. It's an engaged niche. I have great social media assets. I have a good email list. I have products that are just rinse and repeat. They're not going to change the world, but they solve the problem of many in this niche. And there's so many opportunities to build new products too. It's just, you got to sit down and brainstorm and think that through. But it's beautifully positioned for automation. And that's what I've set it up to do, because I don't want to create a job for myself. I want to create leverage and income with very little time, energy, and effort, but still be proud of the work and the products that we provide the market in this niche. And that's what I am. So I'm very proud of what we do, but I think it's time for somebody else to take the ownership and the reins and take it to the next level. And it's just a great business. So that's why I would be interested in this business, because someone once told me that for every person who wants to get out, there's someone who wants to get in. The question is that you? Are you the one looking to get into a business that's going to leverage life and time and flexibility for you and give you great upside growth potential by doing some very intentional things and maybe sprinting for a short period to live a much better, higher profit life with this business that's super easy to run and manage? So yeah, I hope that really gives you some insight as to why I believe this business is definitely worth buying.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this business is still for sale, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll find everything you need to know about this business. So, thanks for joining us. See you next time.